So much cleaner. That's why the desk looks so pretty.
Good afternoon, all. We'll call to order the meeting. Today is the weekly finance meeting for the commissioners. It's March 2 of 2022. The appointed hour 1:30 has arrived, and we will begin with offering a period of public comment for anyone who's in attendance, either virtually or online.
We have one virtual attendant named Brian.
Okay, we do the one attendant who's on. All we have is a name that's Brian. Sir, if you'd like to make any public comment for this session, now is your opportunity. Just unmute and we'll wait a minute for you.
Hi, my name's Brian, and I am a student at Penn State World Campus, and I'm in a government accounting class. And I'm just sitting in on this meeting to gain some knowledge, and it's for a project for class.
Okay, great. Thanks, and welcome to our session here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't believe, so you say we have no one else either in place or virtually, so we'll move on to item 3, which is the approval of the minutes of our February 23rd meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes of February 23 this year.
I will second that motion with a caveat. I think that Zach Hoop's name is spelled incorrectly. When I look at it, I think it's Hoopes, but I would double check.
It is.
It is in fact misspelled.
Okay, good catch. So the motion includes the authorization to amend, and we have a second.
Yes.
On that regard, so all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we move on to today's topic of discussion. This is in regards to tax incentive program for volunteer firefighters. It's an issue we was brought to us some time back by Nate Silcox, who works for the Senate and worked leading this issue on behalf of the Council of Governments of Capital Region Council of Governments. He's made some inquiry about county participation, and we've been gathering some factual information. I know Commissioner DeFilippo would like to address this. Turn it over to you.
Yeah, just a quick outline. As stated, this board has interest in looking into a tax incentive program of some sort for our qualified volunteer firefighters and the EMS folks as well. Staff, particularly Bridget, obtained a lot of information here, which I put together along with my own information in a 2-page document here. Just to see what's going on in the county as far as tax credit programs, and we were able to confirm that 8 townships do have some type of program. 21 do not, and the rest, 3 or 4 municipalities did not get back to us. I do want to note that about 20 minutes ago, it was confirmed that Shippensburg Township does not have a program. So I just want to make note of that. The programs, some townships cover firefighters only, some firefighters and EMS. Some use earned income tax to account for the credit. Some use property tax. That's local property tax. Some use both. I had put together some observations on page 2. Most of the municipalities that do have a program tend to be the larger populated areas, and those that don't are the less populated. There are some exceptions with Camp Hill, East Penn, and Mechanicsburg. To the best of our knowledge, they do not offer a program. I found in a couple of townships that the programs aren't heavily utilized. Hampton seems to be the one that has the most, with 40 qualified applicants. Next door, Silver Spring only has 10. So as far as background information, this is what we were able to obtain so far. And just a couple of options I wanted to pass by my colleagues and staff. There's certainly the other options as well. If we were to establish such a program, we could simply provide it for those individuals that are in municipalities that currently have a tax credit program. There'd be a rather simple option where we could match whatever contribution they are giving their firefighters and the EMS folks. Another option, we could do a countywide program, regardless of whether or not a municipality has a program or not. And for those individuals that are within a municipality, Kearney has a program, they would automatically qualify under the county tax credit. For those individuals within a municipality that does not have a program, the individuals would have to apply and be approved for the county tax program. One thing I want to note is that through the documentation I read that it appears the fire chief is the one who actually recommends approval, and then their elected board would then approve granting that tax grant. There's certain criteria that the firefighters have to meet and the EMS folks as well. So those are my comments right now to get the discussion going. Thank you.
Commissioner DiFilippo, thanks for doing all of this work. And I most certainly am interested in pursuing some version of this program. At first glance, I think it would be nice to offer this throughout the county.
Yep. Two, I wonder if the amounts that are being offered is enough to really make someone stay as a volunteer. I can't answer that, whether it's yes or no. My hunch is it's not. The one that I look at is South Middleton. They offer up to $500 earned income tax as a refund, and also 20% of the property tax. That seems to be a bit more significant. But if, there's no right or wrong answer here. If we started a program and just match those municipalities that have a program, it might give an incentive for those that do not have a program to create one. I realize that a lot of the ones that do not have programs today are the smaller townships. There may not be a lot of firefighters out there, but
I certainly am interested in looking at it further. And I would like to know what would be an amount that would really make a decent impact for people.
Okay. Let me offer some comments. Yes, this information is very helpful. I'm glad you compiled this. I also circulated a number of the things that Nate Silcox had sent me. Hopefully everybody had a chance to take a look at those. But this is really helpful. So I must say I'm surprised there's actually more activity at the local level than I anticipated there would be. And it's a good sign that municipalities are recognizing the need. I agree, Vince, that adding the county to the mix, especially if we only offer it to the ones who are currently offering it, would potentially bump it up to a level that is significant. We won't really know what is a quote unquote significant enough amount. Probably varies from one end of the county to the other. But doing it on a limited basis would probably give us some good information. Plus, we already know how many folks are enrolled, so that would give us a basis to go toward what I've asked for before, which is it would be good to have some information on what financial impact it would be to the county. Obviously, with this number of participants, it would probably not be enormously significant, but we would also want to then do some projections, imagine, to anticipate what it could expand to. But I think one of the vital things here is that doing it in cooperation with those municipalities that are doing it now will probably help cross that threshold where all of a sudden it does become something really that's going to be more attention getting for prospects and has the potential to be a lot more meaningful. Doing it just at the county level may not be enough. The limited program sounds very interesting to me. It would give us a chance to gather some good data and test perceptions and maybe survey some participants. The only other note I would make is that I think we're going to have some detail. I did check with the solicitor regarding whether there's any violation of the uniformity clause. It's not a problem, and that was shared earlier today. The breadth of eligibility, I think, is something that may come up as those who have been attending our emergency services action panel have discovered. We have a pretty broad range of folks who fall into the first responder category, who are not necessarily simply labeled as firefighter or EMS. And we've got, I forget how many task groups, but when they do their report out at our meetings, if they're present, it's pretty time consuming. So some of them, there's overlap obviously between groups and such. So, but I think we should be considering that we very well could get requests from those other groups. And at some point, we might wish to review that, and maybe we would have to fine tune the eligibility a bit. I know some of the municipalities have done a pretty good job on that. The only other question I would have would be, in terms of, you said the fire chiefs are the ones who are determining the eligibility. It would probably be worthwhile for us to find out how much divergence there is in terms of what qualifies, and so there's some uniformity there, and we can assure a degree of fairness. But other than that, I mean, I think it's we're in a very precarious position because there's no grand strategy. There does not appear, we don't know where this fits in. We have no idea what the intent is by the Commonwealth. And this is a problem that's been with us for a long time, getting much worse. Demographically, it's going to get even worse. So it would be certainly helpful to know that they're actually working on something either that could be to address this at a statewide or regional basis. So we can do our part, and I believe we should. But let's get all as many facts as we can.
Yeah, this in itself is not going to solve the problem, but it will certainly, I think, help alleviate some of the problem. Dana, could we get like a ballpark, like a maximum number this would be? Because if that's possible, I guess it would be.
So I can run some numbers, but I really don't know how many people or what their property values will be. So I can make some assumptions. I ran quick numbers this morning on if we had 200 eligible, estimating 20% and 200,000, average of $200,000 home, and it came up under $20,000.
Well,
So I can put some more things in writing and do different variations.
And I would offer to the board here that maybe we cap it. I mean, 20% of property value, county property value, up to whatever that up to number we would decide. Maybe just run a couple different ones.
now with this, and the municipalities are doing this, do they apply in the property tax, in the EIT is easy, but property tax, does it just apply to their primary property of residence? Because some folks will have multiple properties.
I want to say I'm about 98% certain that's it. It's the residence, yeah. That could be easily confirmed. Yeah. And keep in mind that most of the township property taxes are high. Some are, but what'd be really cool is get school districts involved. And that would probably help out a lot, but I don't know how that would fly.
Do you know if Nate has made, or any of the folks he works with have made any overtures to school districts?
That I don't know.
They're certainly beneficiaries as well.
We have,
Volunteer firefighters. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to hold it up for our piece, but it is certainly something they should be approached.
And if the county jumps on board, that might actually incentivize
Right.
one or two of them to act first, and then hopefully others would take notice. So at this point, I think you have a consensus that there's interest in it, certainly conceptually and beyond conceptually. I think we would want to put a few fine points on it before we draft a policy on it. So at this point, I guess, could we just direct Dana to gather the additional information, at least preliminarily? I don't care if you use media numbers or whatever. I mean, if that number that you cited is accurate, I have no reason to doubt it would be. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot of fluctuation that would make an enormous difference in terms of the impact on us.
Yeah, I just pulled numbers out of the air though, because I don't know how many firefighters will be eligible, so I just.
Okay.
I would recommend
Yeah.
Bob Shively would be a great
Yes.
resource
Yeah.
to work with Dana. And then also, we can sell to
Mhm.
compare, a list of property tax owners with the list that we're able to receive and really have a pretty firm number of what the property tax is for the individuals.
I think particularly if we limit it for now to those who already have, then we can get really
Yes.
firm numbers.
Yeah, I think that's the next step. Let's find out dollar wise approximately what this would run. Then go from there.
And we could, while we're checking with Bob, we could check on the Emergency Services Action Panel and figure out what other first responders are there. 'Cause if I'm thinking of what Commissioner Eichelberger is saying in the right way, that ESAB is made up of teams, right? Like, I can't remember if is it Team 200 that is the animal team? And I can't remember if that's a group of emergency responders that would already fit into this. Or if there's, someone special on that team that wouldn't normally,
Some teams fit in and some teams
Don't.
probably do not.
like there are police officers on some of those teams, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it would be good to ask Bob what the makeup is there.
think you could very well see some of those groups, and yes, the animal rescue group, the ham radio folks, the search and rescue folks. I think you could very reasonably see them coming forward and say, hey, part of our group gets this, follow us. And we should just be prepared for that. Not that we need to have that answer as part of this, but. Yeah, so I guess. Dana, if that presents any questions, same Stacy, if that presents any questions in terms of the specifics of gathering, that sounds like you all have a very good handle right now on where's the starting point to gather some good information. So I don't think we need an action on it. I mean, we certainly could do that if somebody wants to, but at this point, I think you've got pretty clear direction. And you know where to find us if you have more questions.
We can note that in the minutes.
And we should move on this quickly.
Yeah.
There's no reason to drag this out for months and months and months.
Yeah, I would just respectfully request 2 weeks to put the data together.
Sounds reasonable.
Yes.
Or 3.
Yeah.
Or 3,
I was gonna say, you tell us what you need.
yeah.
I have confidence you're not gonna drag your feet over it, so the history's proven that, right?
Well, I think sometimes it's nice to be able to check the box that something has been
Yeah,
completed.
absolutely.
So, I think if you're okay with 2 to 3 weeks, we'll get started and we'll then get it scheduled for a finance meeting.
Thank you.
Great.
Sounds
That's
good.
good. Any additional questions on that issue? So that, we'll consider that to wrap up item 4, today's topic. Moving on to item 5, other business, anything additional to come forward? This meeting?
Brian is raising his hand.
Oh, okay. Brian, we're gonna open the mic here for you and feel free to unmute and tell us what's on your mind.
Hey, I appreciate it. I was a volunteer firefighter for Palmyra Borough in Lebanon County for a while. And we had fire police that where they were unqualified medically to be a firefighter anymore, but they would come out and direct traffic. And that was one thing that made them kind of a little bit different. The other thing for qualified firefighters, I know I had to go to firefighter 1 training, which made me qualified, but I didn't respond to a very large percentage of calls. So that could be something that you guys could look at for the chiefs could look at for qualified versus unqualified.
Good point.
Yeah, I think, we think some of that is in the criteria, but those are excellent points. We'll be sure to do that. The fire police is one of the groups within our emergency services action panel, so that we'll be taking them into account here. And they certainly do a great job around here, especially given our traffic and transportation issues. So we count on them a lot. So we thank you for your thoughts.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, last call for other business. If there's nothing, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Stand adjourned.